Hi, I'm Lippy.
And I'm Grumpy. Together we're Lippy and Grumpy Do Podcasting.
In this episode, horse poo, castle stairs, new cars, and James Bond.
Now, Lippy,
Hi.
when's summer going to arrive?
I don't know, it's rainy today, isn't it?
Yeah, it's been very humid here. It's
Yeah.
55%. Humidity is something I don't understand because you can get 100% humidity, which you think you'd be in a lake.
Yes. There'd be water pools appearing out of
You would have
nowhere.
thought so. And I'm sure there's a very rational explanation. But I once spent a weekend away with my mates. We went to a place that was restoring a railway locomotive. And we were talking about steam engines. They kept saying, oh, yeah, well, steam's not very efficient. I said, well, what do you mean it's not efficient? They said, oh, it's not very efficient. But what's efficiency? And I went,
Yeah.
well, it's just not efficient. I said, well, can you explain it?
In comparison to what?
Exactly. And all it means is that you light a fire and there's so much heat there, and you measure that, and then you measure the heat coming out of the chimney, and the difference between them is not very high. So you use a lot of energy, and you burn a lot of fuel, but you don't extract much energy out of it, which is what it means. But
Oh, okay.
it took I had to look it up because they didn't
Yeah.
know, but they pretended to know. Spoke very authoritative about efficiency, and I didn't know what it was.
I like it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. So, is it raining now?
I would say, though, I'm not mad. I'm not mad at the rain. I'm not looking for the hottest summer this year.
No, we had a very hot day Sunday. And,
We did.
it was a bit much, actually. But the
It
problem
was.
is, you go from winter on the Thursday, where I'm going, oh, I might need to put the heating on.
Yeah.
It's quite cold. To Sunday, where you're going, I need to take all of my clothes off and jump in an ice bath.
It sounds like you need to purchase my new best friend.
Oh, I saw that.
Yes, my portable air cooler. £17 from Aldi. And it was incredible, to be honest. The reason I got it, one, was because it was £17, and I thought if it's a bit rubbish, then it's fine.
Yeah.
But what I was thinking is I have it on my desk for when it does get really hot, for when I'm working, and then it's a nice cool breeze just blowing on me, so I'm not overheating too much. Because I sit in our room with the skylights and the big bifold doors, so it does get hot in here when it heats up. But oh my God, it was incredible. I just put tap water in the first time, and it was cool air coming out. And then I put some water in a jug in the fridge, and then put the fridge water into it. And oh my God, it was coming out like ice.
Very good.
It's like ice air. Oh, it was lovely. I was just lying on the sofa, had it angled at my body, marinating in the coolness.
That's worth knowing. Could work quite well on a desk.
Yes. I think that's what it's really designed for, because it's very tiny little box.
Yeah. Well,
It's
you
not
don't
really
need
going to cool
much
a
if
room.
you've got something that's quite, yes, I understand that. But a small area just blowing on your face would make you feel a lot cooler
Yes.
than it actually is. Oh, I might have to invest in one of those.
Yeah. Well, I'm happy to pick one up next time I go if I see one.
Jolly good, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if we get some heat. I tried to convince wife and Grumpy we needed a air conditioning unit for the bedroom.
Oh, we've got one.
Yeah, but
I would.
the thing that, like I said, but would have to close the door or put a curtain up at the top of the stairs just to keep the cold in.
Yes. Yeah, we shut the bedroom door.
Yeah, so that met with some resistance. So.
Well, I guess you leave it open all night. What we tend to do is shut the bedroom door, put it on 2 hours before we go to bed, turn the room into an actual ice box, turn it off when we go to bed, and then it's fine for the rest of the evening.
Well, we'll see. I mean, goodness only knows if we're going to get decent summer. But I do remember 11 years ago, as we went down the Collider, we did a trip to CERN. And it'd been weather like this right up until the end of June. And then we went on the Friday and drove through a lot of rain. And then Saturday was glorious. And the weather broke in the UK on the Saturday, and it was... We had it was good for a good few weeks. So that's...
We'll at least get some hot days, I'm sure.
Well, some warm days would be nice. Consistently warm days would be nice.
Mm.
Not baking hot days, because I start to overheat and get really grumpy.
Well, I'm hoping this weekend's nice because we're going on our baby moon.
Baby moon? What on earth is a baby moon?
It's a little holiday you have before the baby comes.
Oh, of course.
So like a honeymoon, which doesn't make sense because you have a honeymoon after you get married, but you have the baby moon before the baby comes.
Yeah, because there's no chance of having any sort of mooning at all after then. It's just not going to happen.
Yes, but I made the executive decision. I did not want to go on a plane. I didn't want to go anywhere outside of England. And actually, I didn't want to have to travel that far, so we're going down to Brighton.
Oh, well, that's very nice.
Yes.
I like Brighton a lot.
We've booked a nice hotel.
Yeah.
And we're just going to some time on the beach. We've got a balcony in our room.
Lovely.
Wander around the lanes, have some good food.
There's no shortage of good food there.
Yeah. I've spoken to the womanizer, and he's given me a lot of tips on good restaurants to go to.
Yeah.
They are vegan based, or they have good vegan options, but that's not an issue for me because I'm still a bit iffy on meat. But yeah, so very much looking forward to hopefully some sun. I might take my air cooler. I'm going to take my air cooler.
I would, yes, definitely.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, that'll be a nice trip. That's Brighton's got something for everyone, I think. It's one of those places where there's, apart from the Stony Beach, which is a little bit... It's good in some ways because you don't get sand all over your clothes and in your shoes, but it is a little bit uncomfortable to walk on.
Yeah.
Apart from that, it's a really nice city. I worked there for a couple of years before you were born. Good. Well, that'll be nice. Hopefully, I think the weather's okay. It's just not brilliant.
No, yes, I think it's a bit cloudy, which is fine. I've been told that we can go for early dinners, and then we can sit on the balcony and watch all the drunkards.
That would be fun.
Yes,
that will definitely be fun. Are you going to go up the 360 thing?
I don't know. I've never done it before, and
You've done the wheel though in London.
Yeah, it's not my favourite though.
Talking of high dinners.
Yeah.
We have...
What kind of high dinners?
Well, in terms of eating dinner at a...
High up. Oh, right. Okay. Not the other kind.
No. No, definitely not. I realise that's speaking without thinking. So each year we have a DCI company. We do a meal for the directors and workers and their wives and partners. And last year we went to a lovely restaurant near Bank, which I cannot remember the name of. And they had this big terrace that went out that you could have drink before the meal. And, cracking views across the financial areas of London.
Yes. Madison Garden? Could you see St. Paul's?
I don't think you could.
Maybe not then.
No, I don't think you could. Anyway, so wife of Grumpy's there, obviously, and we're sitting chatting, and she's saying, "Oh, look, those people over there are higher than us."
It makes her feel better.
No, just pointed out that we weren't the highest.
Oh, no.
And the guy that organises it thought about it, went, "Okay, we need to go higher, don't we?" So we're on the 32nd floor of the Shard.
Oh, God, but wife of Grumpy doesn't like heights.
Doesn't like heights, but this is all her fault.
She didn't come up the Shard when we all went.
No, stayed at the bottom. So she won't be going close to the window, I shouldn't think.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of us now, we've got our own dining room with a minimum spend. So yes.
That means a certain amount of drinks must be consumed.
Yes, absolutely. And I haven't got a golf match the next day, so I won't be driving.
Perfect.
Absolutely perfect. So I'm looking forward to that. That should be quite fun. Changing the subject a bit and going back in time to 1894.
That's a lot more than a bit back in time.
It is quite a bit back in time, but it's quite interesting because 1894 we're on the cusp of a technological change from horses to cars, to petrol and diesel engine cars, as we are now between petrol and electric
hybrid
on various things. So it's a sort of similar point in history, but with different advances. So in 1984, when people are going, why would you want to buy a motor car? Because we've got a horse. There's a horse manure problem. So 15 to 30 pounds produced by each horse per day of manure. And in New York City, there were 150,000 horses.
That's a lot of poo.
So that's 3 million pounds of horse poo per day that needed to be disposed of, plus 40,000 gallons of horse wee.
That's a lot. What do you do with that? Can you use that for farming?
Well, I suppose so. So earlier in the century, farmers were happy to pay good money for the manure taken away, presumably because there wasn't quite so much of it. But by the end of the 1800s, the stable owners had to pay to have it taken away, which is why there was just massive gluts of it all over the place. 40 to 60 foot high mounds of horse manure in New York City.
Interesting.
Yeah, and they're saying that it's ideal breeding ground for flies, typhoid, and all sorts of horrible illnesses would come from that. So it's also looking at fatalities with horse-related accidents, and in the good old days, as he calls it, so this is 1916, people were killed 7 times more then than they were 100 years later.
By horses.
Several reasons. Horse-driven vehicles have an engine with a mind of its own.
Yes.
Well, I think some Teslas may have minds of
Yes.
their own as well. So maybe
Depends
we
what kind of electric car you buy.
look into that. And you've got lots of people in a small space, and a horse will go absolutely berserk because it's in a paper bag somewhere. So it's not the ideal source of energy. And they sometimes stampeded. They could kick, bite, trample bystanders and children, and people fell off them as well. Horses died.
Yeah.
They reckon 3 dozen horses died in New York every day.
Oh, God.
So 15,000 a year. So it's odd. You get this period where you've got mobility all of a sudden. You can go places, you can get places quickly, but there's a cost to that. And the cost of that is obviously lives lost because of that transport device, but also just dealing with the mess. And I suppose we've had that to a degree with the internal combustion engine, with lead and all sorts of things pumped out of the exhaust pipe. So it's just swapping one for another, really.
Yeah.
But, yes, 3 million pounds of horse poo.
That's a lot of horse poo.
Yeah. So next time you have to
horse poo.
move some soil or something, just think of that every day.
Shoveling 3 million pounds of horse poo.
Yes.
Crazy.
Staying back in time,
Yeah.
we go to a castle and you think, I'll go up the turrets or I'll go up
Yes.
onto the roof. And you're presented with this staircase that is narrow, spiral, and the stairs are uneven as anything.
Yeah.
Oh, God. And
I'm going to die.
yeah, basically, this is not going to end well, is it? That is exactly the reason they were made like that.
Oh.
Because if the attacking force had to come up those stairs,
They'd be coming from the bottom.
they would be coming from the bottom, and they are generally spiral in a clockwise direction because the upcoming attacker, who's probably right-handed, not necessarily, but probably right-handed, would have their arm closest to the centre bit, whereas the
couldn't
bloke
swing.
coming down the stairs can get a good old chop on.
How clever!
Very clever indeed.
The people that built those castles were very intelligent, though. There's lots of little things like that.
They are. And interesting, and this is something I've always wondered about, is they were very poorly lit.
Yeah.
So you think you get a little slit window maybe, a couple of places on the way down. But, you're trying to get down these things. So there was one we went to when we were on the Broads a few years ago. That church, I don't think you and Duck went up.
Yeah.
We went up.
No.
And that was really tight.
We saw you at the top.
Yes, saw us at the top, but the staircase was really very tight. And of course, the problem is now, whilst you don't have attacking people, if you haven't got somebody managing people going up and down, you end up meeting in the middle. And
Squeeze past.
totally
I wouldn't. I don't think I'd fit these
No, you
days.
probably wouldn't actually. Get halfway up there and get stuck.
Wedged.
Yeah. Yes, a bit like the friends of ours that tried to take a rib they had on the back of their car through the McDonald's drive-through. And got it wedged.
Numpty.
Yeah, got it completely wedged in there. So back to Miami boat ramp. But McDonald's on the M27. Now, we sometimes hear some unpleasant stories about celebrities meeting general public.
Yes.
And some people can be very standoffish, and there may be a reason for that. Or there may not be. They may just not be very
In
sociable.
the mood. Yeah.
I was delighted to read this story about Roger Moore, who played James Bond in the 70s. And this is set in 1983. And the storyteller is, in 1983, is a 7-year-old boy. And he's in the airport at Nice with his granddad, and he spots Roger Moore. So this is this is peak James Bond for Roger Moore.
Yeah.
So the young lad says to his granddad, he said, would you go and get his autograph for me? His granddad says, yeah, I'll go do that. So he goes over to see Roger Moore, and he says, excuse me, my grandson says you're famous. Could you sign this? So he said, yeah, it's not a problem. And he signs the back of the plane ticket.
Yeah.
The granddad goes back over, shows it to the grandson, and the grandson looks at him and goes, well, he doesn't use his proper name. Because, what do you mean? He says, well, he's James Bond.
Oh, bless.
So he said, could you go and get him to correct it?
Oh.
Granddad goes, oh, God. So he goes over to Roger Moore and he says, look, I'm really sorry. My grandson thinks you're James Bond. And so Roger Moore goes, okay. So Roger Moore then goes over to the young lad and he says, he raised an eyebrow, as he always did in the Bond films, and said to him, I have to sign my name as Roger Moore because otherwise Blofeld might find out I was here. Oh. And he asked him not, keep it secret that he'd been there. Oh, and then his granddad asked him if he'd re-signed it. And the grandson said, no. He said, I got it wrong. And he was working, as far as he was concerned, at 7-year-olds, he was working with James Bond. He was now Spy.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, my God.
It doesn't end there. There's more to this story. So many, many years later, the grandson's obviously now grown up. He's now a script.
Now understands that he's not James Bond.
Not necessarily. He's recording a piece involving UNICEF, and Roger Moore was an ambassador for UNICEF at that point. So anyway, they've finished shooting. He's talking to Roger Moore, and he said, I've got to tell you this story. And he told him the story in Nice airport, and he said, I said, well, I'm sorry, I don't remember that, but I'm glad you got to meet James Bond, which he was really chuffed about. So anyway, so they go their separate ways for a bit, and then they cross in a corridor. And as they're crossing, Roger Moore raises an eyebrow and says, I couldn't say anything in there because of those cameramen. Any one of them could be working for Blofeld. How brilliant. How a brilliant,
That's
brilliant
so
story.
Funny.
Yeah.
Oh, what a great sport.
Yeah, absolutely. He always came across as that sort of...
Just a nice person.
Yeah. He had a house not far from where I grew up, up near Downsend Park for many years, apparently. But I've never saw him.
Elusive.
Well, he probably didn't spend much time in this country, to be honest.
Yeah.
Jet-setting around the world.
Not like seeing that actor and dropping his kids off at school. People always see him. Oh, my God. I've got bad baby brain. This is a new thing that's developing.
Tom Hardy.
Yeah. People see him all the time.
Well, apparently he's turned up at the pizza van on Common on one or two occasions. I don't know where he lives. There was rumours.
We had a house in Twickenham, but his kids go to school there.
Okay. Because there was rumour he bought Ringo Starr's old house, which on the edge of the village, but I don't think that's the case.
No, because Duck Boy used to see him a lot in Twickenham. In Richmond, when he worked in Richmond. So he's got a little house there. Not a little, quite big.
Yeah.
But yes, the baby brain's in full swing.
Yeah, it gets worse, though. Wife of Grumpy spotted John Richardson, the comedian, at Dorking Halls. We went to see Joan Armour Trading. And she shouts across, she says, look, it's John Richardson, just as he's going into the toilet. And she decided to stand outside the toilet and wait for him to come out. But very wisely, he decided to do the complete opposite and stay in the toilet until
she disappeared.
Yes. I did send him a message on Twitter and apologised, to which he never replied. So
how funny.
what do you do?
Well, that's not baby brain, that's just crazy brain.
No, that's post-baby brain.
Post-baby brain.
Yeah, that's what you've got to look forward to.
Yeah. I had you remember around Christmas time, we played that game, which I don't think you're a massive fan of. It has all the cards out and you have to say, it's like a linking game. and it has the pictures. You have to say a word and then how many cards it relates to.
I don't remember that, actually.
Do you not?
No, very poor memory.
Anyway, we bought the two player person of that game, and we were playing it on Sunday, and I think there's about 12 cards that go out, and then you get a separate card that tells you which cards are your cards. So then in the group you have to link them. Anyway, we're sat playing. I couldn't think of anything, and in my head I had the card that said goat. And I checked it a few times, and I had the card that said goat in my head. And I was like, well, it's the only animal, so I'm just going to say animal 1. That's an easy get, that. As Duck Boy goes, oh, it's goat. It dawned on me that I didn't have goat. And I just managed to convince myself I did, no matter how many times I checked this thing to see if it was green. It wasn't green. My brain just...
What was it then, if it wasn't goat?
Well, it was just an extra card. So you don't have all the cards on the table.
I'm a bit lost here. So you had a card with goat on it, but it wasn't a goat?
No, yeah, so that was one of the 12 cards. So you only have about 9 of the 12.
I'm beginning to see why I don't remember this. Because it's so horrifically complicated. My brain would have exploded.
And then yesterday I was sat in the office at work, and we had a toll fare sent to our office address. And then we don't have any cars registered to our office because it's a business address. We don't have any business vehicles. So I rang them up to ask them what I need to do so that they know that they don't have the right address. And she said, and then I hung up and I looked at the letter again, looked up at my manager and went, they've got the wrong building number. That's why they've sent it to 34 instead of 24. And she said, no, we're 34.
Oh dear.
And I was sat there like, I only use the address every single day of the week to do stuff with.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Easily done. There'll come a point where they just go, no, just stay at home.
Yeah, she did say when we hit August, maybe just work from home full time.
We'll just stay there. Just don't.
I think she quite likes it though. It gives her a good laugh.
Yeah. Well, yes, you're not supposed to be an object of ridicule, though.
Yes, and I finally told the people that I work with, who are predominantly men, to be fair, that I'm pregnant now. And bless, they must have known or thought she's putting on a lot of weight.
Well, there's one thing I learned very early on: you never ask. Never ask.
But the right moment came up, so I said it, and the way they had questions lined up already made me think they did know.
Oh yeah,
they were just waiting.
There would have been there would have been conversation.
Yeah. Like, why is she walking around rubbing her tummy?
Yeah, quite. And where have all the biscuits gone?
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, I was surprised to find something I'd never heard of last week.
Ooh.
A thing called a Dyson sphere, which has nothing to do with vacuum cleaners or
okay, that's what I would have guessed.
Sort of overpriced electrical equipment. It was the theory was published in the 60s by a Professor Dyson. Basically, it's that aliens could create these Dyson spheres, as they've been known, around a star to harness the energy of the star and then do stuff, whatever that stuff might be, whether it's nefarious or not. And there was an article in The Independent where astronomers think they found objects in space that could be these Dyson spheres.
Ooh.
Now, the thing is, I've been thinking about this, and you think of the size of the sun compared to the size of the Earth. Yeah. How big a thing you'd need to build to harness that energy? Because the pictures have got it going round the star.
Oh, so like an actual... Well, it's not just like little... in my head, I was thinking little things.
No, these are massive.
Like a big dome.
Big dome. So you build a planet around the star. This is my understanding, which I may have got completely wrong. But yeah, slightly worrying that if these things are being built, then there's no reason why there can't be life on other planets that don't spend their time trying to blow each other up and actually do something for the greater good, as it were. So so there could be the greater good. So there could be a Death Star out there, as in
Star Wars.
Star Wars. I was just about to mix my sci-fi series up there.
Oh, I got you.
Thank you. But I had a picture in my head I saw earlier of Will Wheaton, who was in Star Trek,
Yes.
appearing at a Star Wars premiere dressed in his Star Trek outfit, which I thought was
Just
very
to
funny.
mess with people.
Very funny. And I was on a more serious note, I was interested to see this week there was an announcement made of a saliva test for prostate cancer.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah, very interesting. Now, a good friend of mine has a problem with his stomach, digestive system. So he has a check every 6 months or something. And they said to him, we think you might be a suitable candidate to go for this trial. To see. So he said what they'll do is they'll do the test and then they'll do an MRI and they may do a biopsy depending on what they see. So we're not saying you've got it, but we think it's good for this trial. And it turns out he's got a very, very small amount, as most men our age will have.
Do tend to,
It's not unusual. But the thing is that they were able to link the results of the saliva test to the results. So they've obviously done enough of this to say, well, actually, we think this is going to be a test that we could use in the future.
That's really interesting because that's an at-home test then.
It could be an at-home test.
Could just send it off them.
Yeah, absolutely. But it feels like it's more reliable than the PSA test. I can talk for hours about pros and cons of this.
Yeah.
But essentially with a PSA test, you're trying to detect a teaspoonful of something in an Olympic-sized swimming pool.
Yeah.
So, it's only going to be a little bit out and you get very different results. So it's not a perfect test, but it's the one that we've got at the moment.
Yeah. The best one for the job currently.
But if this works out, which it sounds like it's going to, then it's cheap and it's cheap, but you haven't got to go and have blood taken, so you haven't got all of that malarkey, and then maybe we can have a reliable screening process in this country for it, which would be
you can have mobile units of people that don't necessarily need to be trained to take blood.
You do, and there are, the Prostate Project do that. And there are some angst around that. For example, our GPs are not keen on screening like that because there's too many false positives.
Oh, I see.
And it all depends on your perspective.
Yeah.
If you find somebody who's got it and they survive because of that screening process, but two other people have to go through MRI and a biopsy, which is, the procedures aren't too bad, but the waiting is horrendous, then, is that worth it? It's a question you can't answer, and a lot of it depends on perspective. So GPs tend to be against that sort of mass screening. But if this is reliable, then it's brilliant. We can, we can have
very
it.
Interesting.
So, very interesting indeed. Okay, that's enough serious stuff.
I've got an interesting one.
Oh, go on then.
We've got a new car.
You have, haven't you? Yes.
We do. We have a parent car, that we'd like to call it.
Yes.
Because obviously I've had my little Audi I worked it out. I think I got it in 2014.
Yeah, I was going to say it must be 10 years.
Yeah, so it's about 10 years now I've had it. So I'm not used to a brand new car. And even with Duck Boy's new cars, they weren't necessarily techie. He had his little MX-5. But this car is fully teched out. It's mad. Yeah. There's like driver users. So he's driver 1, obviously. I'm driver 2. And when you get into the car and you click which driver you are, and then it adjusts to the settings that you've set the car at.
Okay, that's good.
So like different buttons can do different things. So you can set your buttons to what is better for you. And then there's 2 driver seats. So you just get in, and every time you open the door, the seat pulls back for you to help you get in.
Wow, that is worth buying in my view.
Yeah. So when I get in, I just push 2 and it'll adjust exactly to how I wanted it.
Brilliant.
And And then so when Chris gets in, he pushes one and it adjusts for him. And as soon as you open the door, it pulls all the way back again so you can get out easily.
Very good.
It's so, honestly, that's my favourite bit is the movement in the car seat. It has cooling as well as heated seats.
Ooh.
You get like a nice breeze coming from behind. When it's
Ooh, I
warm.
say.
Yeah. Only in the front though. You get heated in the back and cooling and heating in the front. Fancy.
Wow.
A wireless charger for your phone. So when you put your phone on the thing, it starts automatically charging.
Good heavens.
What else does it have? It has a new cruise control system, which is cruise control, but also it has a 3-car length setting. So when you're on the motorway, you can turn that on and it will slow according. It'll keep a 3-car distance.
Adaptive. They call it.
Adaptive cruise control, which is quite cool. It also has lane assist, which I wasn't a fan of because it feels like, you know, when you're on a motorway or on a very open road and it's really windy and you feel the car pull a bit, it does that. So I turned that one off because I don't like that one. But it's real fancy.
Very good. And what is it? What make is it?
It's a Hyundai Tucson.
Yes, that sounds right.
Yeah, Hyundai Tucson.
And is that how you pronounce Hyundai? Because
the new advert is Hyundai, isn't it?
Hyundai, yeah.
Yeah, I think they did that just so people started talking about Hyundais.
Yes, well, possibly.
Or it is Hyundai. Who knows?
On the same day you took that, a friend of mine took delivery of a Hyundai electric car, and I can't remember the model name, but it is insanely fast. It is.
Well, ours is hybrid. And it
it is hybrid. Okay.
It zooms off the line.
Yeah, this thing. He said it's nothing like he's ever driven before. You know, he's he's had a couple of Porsches and some relatively quick cars. He's so worried about the tyre wear though. He's already bought another set of tyres. It's crazy. But I suggested that he took it to the Nürburgring.
Had some fun with it.
Well, he said, no, I'll come back with it in 2 carrier bags. It's not... yes, they seem to be doing some amazing engineering over career.
Yeah, so we had a big mistake, I would say. I don't know if we mentioned it previously, where Duck Boy went to pick the new car up about a month ago now and got there and it was red.
Yeah.
It wasn't, we ordered black and it was red. So they were incredible, to be fair. It was a guy that had left who wasn't very good at admin that had made the mistake. And since going and picking this one up, there's been a lot of stuff, apparently.
Oh, really?
Been coming out the woodworks
Yeah.
of customers saying, well, I was told it was this, and it's not being that. But they were absolutely incredible. And it's actually meant that so Hyundai had done a internal face and tech lift, so they had put new things in and done new things, and it meant that we actually have got the brand new version rather than the version of the one we were sold, but for the price of the old one, but the new stuff.
Yes.
So
good. Every cloud,
very
as they
fancy.
say.
Every cloud, and we didn't need it till September anyway because it was a baby car, but it'll be lovely to take to Wales and interesting to see how far we can get, how much petrol we actually use.
How far does the hybrid bit go?
Well, I'm not too sure because it charges as you drive.
Yeah.
So I haven't got a clue, really.
No, but it tends not to be too far. But
it comes with an app called Blue Link, which tells you all that information. How far, and as you're driving, it tells you if you're driving economically or not.
Yeah.
It does also have a sport mode, just in case you don't want to use any electricity and you just want to...
Just want raw power. Do you get both? Do you get the electric and petrol?
Yes.
No, at the same time.
Oh, I don't know.
Mode.
I don't know, actually.
Doesn't the BMW M8 do that, or i8? There's one of them, one that the Horse Whisperer drove, where it's a hybrid, but in Maniac mode, you get everything. You get the electric motor.
Maybe that's what, because you have to physically switch to sport mode. So maybe it is everything then. But that was slightly terrifying. I turned that off straight away.
Yeah. Well, we look forward to trying this on a trip to Wales.
Yes, pootling. It'll be very comfortable.
Yeah.
It's automatic as well.
Oh,
I kept going for the imaginary clutch.
That's okay. It's when you switch the other way. Oh, no, it's not. It's that one. No, when you hit the brake with your left foot.
Yeah.
quite embarrassing.
I was fine with that. I kept going to, thankfully, because it's still a UK car, it's not like when I drove an automatic in America and I kept smashing my hand into the door.
Yeah, oh yeah.
At least there's a nice big open space when I move my hand, it doesn't hit anything.
Oh, we look forward to seeing that, giving that a bit of a try. Though I must say I'm a bit anxious about driving a car that modern, having, that's 20 years, well, it's a quarter of a century older than my Volvo estate.
We'll see. I'll do the first bit.
Yeah, we might
See how we go. Yeah.
Now, I haven't heard much from the Screaming Tomato of late. He's in the middle of a house move, I believe.
Oh,
so he sent me some pictures, which look like a lovely location, just outside of Melbourne, I think. But anyway, he put a posting on the Facebook, and it was linked to a gentleman called Roland the Farter.
nice.
Yeah, quite. Yes, this is very typical of the Screaming Tomato. This sort of article, and it's so he was a medieval flutist who lived in the 12th century. Now, flutist is somebody that can basically play tunes with their bottom.
Like it.
So he was a jester for King Henry II, and he was obliged to perform at Christmas a set which included a bit of harping. And in return, he got a manor in Suffolk with 30 acres of land.
Oh.
So who says farting doesn't pay?
No, it obviously does.
But it reminded me, and I think we may have talked about this before, there's a Leonard Rossiter film called The Peterman, that translates in France to plays, flutist as...
Flutist.
Flatuist. Flatuist, that's it. Flatuist. I'm probably mispronouncing this. Anyway, the character that was played in the Peterman was it's a true story of a guy that would perform at the Moulin Rouge in Paris.
Oh yeah.
And again, he could suck in and then make a sound as he various sounds, and it all went wrong one evening.
Oh no!
Yes, he didn't play again. It's a great little film. If you ever find it, I thought it was quite interesting and very Screaming Tomato. So thank you for inadvertently sending that in.
Yes.
Whilst we're on the bizarre route, came across a patent in 2003 for leaf gathering trousers. So basically, these are two flexible sleeves that you put your legs in, and in between the sleeves is a mesh. So the idea is you sort of shuffle through the leaves.
Like those flying suits.
Yes, exactly like that. But slightly bigger mesh. So you scoop all the leaves up into one place and then do whatever you're going to do with them. So slightly odd, and I don't think it's taken off.
I feel like it would be a lot of effort. More effort than just doing it with a rake.
Well, according to the patent, it says all the user would need to do is to walk in a normal manner, and I don't think that's possible because your legs are too
close together.
Yeah, it'd be like walking in a very tight skirt, I would imagine. Not that I've ever worn. So if you have seen this in the wild, then please let us know. But I can't recall ever seeing them being used. So, Lippy, it's that time again. Things you can get away with because you are pregnant.
Yes.
What have you got away with this week?
Buying a ridiculous amount of new clothes.
Well, I think that's more of a necessity than getting away with.
Yes, true. But I love a good shopping trip. I like shopping. I like buying new clothes. And it's just a really good excuse because nothing fits me anymore.
Well.
To the point where I had bought a couple of maternity T-shirts because I thought, they might be handy. But I thought a lot of my T-shirts are oversized anyway, so it'll be fine. They'll cover my bump. Yeah. Turns out they don't.
Oh.
My little beer belly sticks out at the bottom if I've got like my joggers on and my joggers, I wear them low.
This is a problem that I have as well because of the shape of my body.
You should buy some maternity t-shirts.
Well, interesting. There are companies that are advertising T-shirts for dad bods, they call it, and they're supposed to be cut to avoid exactly that.
Yeah.
Maybe they've just repackaged maternity T-shirts.
Yeah, because all they are is just there's more material at the front. It goes longer at the front than it does at the back. They're perfect. So I've realised I need to buy more of those because my t-shirts don't fit actually as well as I thought they would.
No, something weird happens with T-shirts and lumps and bumps. I don't understand it. But...
No, I don't get how they gather so much, but it gathers a lot. But my friend who had a winter pregnancy said to me, "Oh, I didn't buy any maternity clothes. I just wore all my jumpers and stuff." And I was like, "It's going to be 20 degrees. I can't wear a jumper.
That's not
I need to buy maternity clothes."
Absolutely right. Yeah. Well, I don't think you're getting away with that. I think that's a necessity.
Thank you. Can you tell Duck Boy?
No.
Because he was shocked at the amount of parcels that have been turning up.
Well, I was shocked at the amount that went through the Amazon account. None of those were... Oh, some of them were closed, I think.
Some of them were closed.
Yeah. Okay. I got a very short fun fact.
Oh, yeah.
East Anglia is the biggest consumer of yoghurt in England.
How random.
I have no data to back that up,
Interesting.
but apparently it is.
Yeah. Fair enough.
That's it for this podcast. Thank you so much for listening.
You can help spread Lippy and Grumpy's view on life by leaving a review on your favourite podcast platform.
If you're not sure how to leave a review, or if you download from Spotify, there's some help at lippyandgrumpy.uk/review.
And if you would like to get in touch, email podcast@lippyandgrumpy.uk.
So it's goodbye from me.
And goodbye from him.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.